welcome to episode 11 of my podcast, Knitting on the Farm. Today is Thursday the 17th of September, and it is a beautiful day here, a lovely afternoon, and I thought I just would pop on and say hello and keep you up to date with all the crafty things that I have been getting on with. And this podcast, I have quite a few of crafting disasters, which I haven't had for a wee while, but I've had them this time. I just want to say hello and welcome you all to my podcast. I want to thank everyone for subscribing and for viewing the podcast. There's been quite a few new subscribers and I really appreciate that. And it's more than I ever expected, and I do thank you for all the comments that are left down below, for all the encouragement that you are to me and to my knitting. You keep me plodding along, and I also just want to thank you for just keeping me company in this time where really again we're not going out very far, and particular areas in Northern Ireland here have been put into sort of further restrictions than others. So I think getting out and about is going to be something that is going to be few and far between for the next wee while. So thank you very much for joining me. So I'll start just with then the places that you can find me. As usual, they'll be down below, but I'm on Instagram as Knitting on the Farm with all the underscores, and that's where I'm most active. And then we have a Ravelry group for the podcast, and it's Knitting on the Farm podcast group, and it's quite active. I'm really pleased with the number of people that are taking part in it, and I've popped in as often as I can, and love to see what's going on over there. And then my own page is Knitting on the Farm on Ravelry as well, where you can find all the details of my projects and things. And if there's any particular details about something in it, I put it over there so you can pop on and see if there's anything of interest. And then if you want to contact me personally or privately, you can do so on knittingonthefarm@gmail.com. This week I've turned my camera around and I'm using the front facing camera to see if it gives you a better picture, so I hope it's working okay. I can't see a lot of what is going on apart from a screen mirror just on my computer. So if I'm moving to the right when I should be moving to the left, please forgive me till I get used to the setup, but I think it'll be a better picture for you. Okay, then this podcast, I'm going to just do our usual off the needles, things that are on the needles, some general news, and just bits and pieces. In the Ravelry group, under the question section, there was a few questions, and I'll take a couple of them this week, and then I'll carry the others over and we'll do them time on time as I record. One of the questions was then, what is the mannequin wearing that's in the background? And it is a t-shirt by Jane Redmond, and it's called the Gemini t-shirt, and I knitted a very long time ago, long before I did project pages on Ravelry and long before I even kept a knitting notebook. So it is still available on Ravelry. I can't remember if it's a paid for pattern or not, but it's still there and you can go and check that out. It is a lovely knit and it's a good staple wardrobe item to have for the spring come into summer and even summer come into autumn. So thank you for that question. I think it was Nikki asked me that. And then one of the other questions was from Teresa, who is Thistledown, and it was asking me about local yarn shops and is there a particular one that I like to visit. there's probably about 3 shops that would be within 10 to 15 miles of us, all going in opposite directions. And they all keep a good stock of baby yarn and a good stock of Aran weight yarn for you know, sweaters, and a lot of people in Northern Ireland would knit a lot of baby goods, blankets, hats and scarves, that type of thing. Sock knitting is coming on a bit. Yarn as in pure wool and different breeds of sheep and things wouldn't be just as popular, and it's a wee bit harder to find. One of the shops has started to stock a little bit of it in Newcastle, and it is worth a browse. To be honest, I don't go to the yarn shop really that often. I like to go at the beginning of my knitting year. I would sit down with a few patterns, organise what I want to knit, maybe for the grandkids, etc., and then purchase a bit of yarn for some surprise babies that come along that I would knit gifts for. And I like to buy it just all sort of at the one time, do a bit of colour matching and blending and get the best value for money. The sort of thing that you can't really do when you're buying online. And I would bring that home and then work through it throughout the year. And then the rest of the yarn I do buy online. So I would say the last time I was in a yarn shop was maybe just after Christmas, and with lockdown and things, it's not something that is really a necessity, so it's not something I have been doing. But yes, to the answer to the questions, there are 2 or 3 shops local to me, and then of course there are other shops that would be on the 30-mile plus radius. So thank you for your questions. So I will move on then to things that I have off the needles, and some of these I think I showed you the last time and they just weren't finished, so I will finish them up now and then I can put them away. So the first thing I wanted to show you then is my hat. I just needed to block it, and I think I needed to put the pom-pom on it, which I now have done. Aren't those pom-poms so cute? Is that in shot? I hope it is. It's a lighter pink maybe than what it's showing up. Let me see. Yes, it's sort of more on this lighter tone here, but it blends beautifully with the hat. I'm very pleased with it. It blocked out lovely. It's a snap-on catch on the pom-pom, which is really good. No faffing around to get it washed. The pom-poms are lovely and fluffy, and when you put the hairdryer to it, it was brilliant. So the hat is by Debbie Ford, as I said the last time. I knitted in the yarn and pom-pom hat kit, which I purchased from Lay Family Yarn. It is the 50 grams, which was for the you knit it with the kid silk and the main yarn together. Am I in shot? There you go. And the kid mohair is 72% kid mohair and 28% silk, and it was 50 grams and it's 420 meters. I think the camera's good that way. It gives you a good shot. Then the main colour was 100 grams, the 425 meters, and it's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And I'm sure Kelly, I haven't checked, but I'm sure she has yarn in stock that you could make up your own kit. I love the fact that there's a little bit of, you can see there, a little bit of purple and pinks, and then you just used your scraps for the the band that you wanted to use in the middle, and I used this pink, and then a grey with strong pink, and then I used another grey, which on hindsight is a bit too close to the colours that are in the hat, because if you can see here, you don't just see it very well, but you always live and learn and play about with colours, and it makes a great difference to the finished item. So that's the hat by Debbie Ford. It's called the Magpie hat. It's a free pattern, and excuse me, if you can see, it comes with the brimmed version. Where am I? Here. Whoa. Well, you can see, you can have the ribbed version and then the brimless version, and the one I chose was the brimless version, which I like. The only thing if I was doing it again would be I would knit the brim longer here, that it would be a deeper brim, but that'll be on the next one. So that's my Magpie hat by Debbie Ford. Then the last time I think I had my mint tea socks. I think I had these, I'll just get my notes here. I think I had these partially finished for the last podcast. This was for, sorry, these are not the mint tree socks. These are my Central Park socks. Yes, and the pattern is by Mina Phillips, Knitting Expat Designs, and the yarn was a gift in last year's Advent swap, and it was a sock blank by Hedgerow Yarns, a sparkly sock, and the contrast for the toes was from my stash, and that was the first sock. And of course I do have the second one. The yarn was lovely to knit with. I talked about it in the last podcast, and I really love how they turned out, and I love when they're blocked. It just really brings the pattern to life. So that is the Central Park socks, and that's the pattern. So I'm very pleased with those, and those are a Christmas present. So and the hat also was a Christmas present. So then the other pair of socks that I have finished, I'm not sure whether I had these, can't remember if I had these on the needles or not, should have looked, and these are the mint tea socks, and again they're by Debbie Ford, that had the hat pattern. She's Daisy Stitches on Instagram. So I think I have my project pages all up to date. So we have the two socks. These are a left and a right pattern. I love left and right socks. I think they're nice, and they're just gives a wee bit of change when you're knitting the second one. So obviously this is the left sock with some cable down the outside. This part also has a little pattern in it, which is of good interest. I like that. And then the back is just plain. 1x1 rib, the little bit of contrast, the contrast heel, which I just did the slip stitch heel, flap and gusset, and then just the usual toe. And these are also for a Christmas present, and these were knit in my Life of Birds sock club for 2020, and this colorway was the long tail, after the long tail titbird, and there was a lovely piece of information inside about the bird, and it also gives you an opportunity to look up some more about nature. You learn so much, and I enjoy that actually about the sock club. So that is the mint tea socks then by Debbie Ford, and that's the pattern. As I say, it's a free pattern also. Okay, that was that's my 3 finished things really. I did want to also mention that a couple of podcasts ago, or maybe the last podcast, I had finished the beautiful test knit for Lindsay of Stitch Create Love on Instagram, and the pattern is being released tomorrow morning. So I thought I just would show you the cowl again, and I would just make sure that you all knew about it and you all know to go to Ravelry or her Etsy shop tomorrow and grab yourself a copy. It's a really comprehensive pattern, as I've said before, and I have done a write-up on Instagram about it, and you won't go wrong. You literally could not make a mistake with the instructions that you've been given. So if you're thinking about doing a little bit of lace work, and you can do knit 2 togethers, and you can do a yarn over, and you're prepared to just work in the round, that is a pattern that you could start with. As I say, Lindsay wanted the pattern to be simple, that anyone could lift it, that nothing was left to a guess, and she definitely has done that. So it's not too long. I think it's 100 rows, and I think she has said that herself, so there's no problem with me saying it. And it's inspired from her love for ballet, and she talks all about that on her podcast, which is worth a watch just to hear the thoughts behind it. I love when a pattern has a story behind it. So I knit mine in a mini set from Elder Flower Stitches, and then I used some mohair, and I did the 2-stranded version. If I can find where just the label is. I did have it a minute ago. Yeah, it's straps, alpaca, silk. It's a blend of brushed alpaca and mulberry silk, and if you can see there, 77% alpaca and 23% silk, and it's 25 grams, and I used 1.5 skeins, so that's about 35 odd grams. If you want to just be looking through your stash to be organized for tomorrow, I can tell you just what my weights were in the yarn that I used. Out of the 4 colorways, I used about 13 to 15 grams each, and then for the alpaca silk, I used 36 grams. So when I was buying it, I bought 3 skeins, so I can actually I'll get 2 cowls, no problem out of that. So if you want to be organized for the morning, which I know lots of people are that have been following Lindsay, 4 colors and some alpaca silk or mohair will knit 1 version. If you look on her Instagram page, there's lots of people, she has photos up of her test knits, and some people have knit them in DK, and some people have knit them without using any of the silk or the mohair, and they're absolutely beautiful. So there's loads of options there. Don't be put off if you just don't have the exact yarn in stock. It's a very versatile pattern. So then I think that's everything that I wanted to say. I may well have paused this, so I may well have covered Lindsay's pattern. If I have, I'll try and cut it out if I can, and if I can't, well then you'll hear about it. You'll hear about it twice. So that's everything that's off the needles. So I hope at this stage you're not bored and you've got your cuppa with you and you're enjoying listening to me babbling along. Today I have a nice dog with me and some sheep, and I've stopped and started this podcast and recorded and re-recorded that. I don't know what sections I've covered and what sections I haven't, so I will have to do some editing. And my editing skills are not great, so as I always say, this is not a professional podcast. What you see is what you get, and that's just the way I like it. Okay, so then for some things that are on the needles, I will start with the sock saga. Last time I was knitting a pair of socks for Andrew, and I told you that Ellie had gifted me some yarn, Ellie from Craft House Magic, and I was working on a little pattern of my own. I was knitting toe up and was ready to do the heel, I think, and showed them to my husband, and he says, no, I think that pattern would annoy my foot inside my shoes or inside my boots. I don't know how it really would, to be honest, but anyway, when he said that, that sort of put me completely off, and my socks and little pattern were frogged out. So I bit the bullet and I said I have to cast on again. If I don't, I will just leave the knitting bag sitting there and that will be it. So straight away I just started and I cast on again, and this time I started and I did a cuff down. So I'm just using all the one yarn, the ice yarn. I'm not putting any contrasts or anything in, and just did the slip stitch heel, yes, and then just the usual rounded toe. The yarn, it's fine to knit with. Definitely would be harder than indie dyed merino and nylon yarn, which is understandable, but I think it'll be good hard wearing sock yarn. So I have the first one finished, and the second one I have cast on. I have the cuff done and just a few rows started on the leg. So I just, as usual, I always like to cast on straight when I finish one, because if I don't, I can sit there for a while and then I take an itch that I want to start another pair of socks. So this is the yarn. It is Ice Yarns. It's the Super Sock, and it is 100 grams is 400 meters, and it is 75 superwash foil and 25% polyamide. And if I turn it round, that's how the sock is supposed to turn out. Ellie gave me one full skein and a little bit that was left from what she had knit, so I'm not worried about them matching or anything. I just lifted the piece that was left and started to knit with it. So I don't know whether they'll maybe not turn out like that pattern wise, but they will be fine in Andrew's ballet boots. So that's those socks, and that's the yarn back onto the needles. The other socks that I were knitting was the Nutkin socks, and I'm afraid they have gone to the wayside. The yarn is ripped back. I think I still have it in a bag, and I am going to knit it again. I was going to put it back into my stash and take out and wind up something else, but I didn't. The fit was horrendous. I definitely don't think it was my gauge, because it's what I knit all the time and nothing had changed. In fact, I even used 2.5. No, I used 2.25, which is what I originally started to knit my socks on, because I thought it would be a little bit tight, but it was not a good fit at all, and I wouldn't even attempt to knit them in the bigger size because there just was too many potential problems. So they have been frogged and sitting on the shelf, ready to be started again in another pattern. When Andrew seen the yarn, he thought he really loved the colour, so I want to knit something for him in them. Then the other thing that I have on the needles is a cowl that I have started. This was a free pattern on Ravelry. I just was taking a wee mosey through cowls to see what there was, and I am going to knit the Dance Like No One's Watching cowl again, but I just wanted something as an in-between, and it's also for another gift. So I came across this pattern. It's by Melanie Rice and it is called A Small Gift. If you can see, it is just simple seed stitch and little blocks of knit and purl. Maybe is it better? Maybe is a better pattern, or rather a better picture. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I have quite a few rows of it done, and it's very simple, it's very relaxing. It's both charted and written, and I don't mind showing that when it's free, but you can pop across and download it if you want for yourself. I am using the lovely yarn that I talked about a few weeks ago, on maybe 2 podcasts ago, that was gifted to me by an Instagram friend, Heather, who lives in Northern Ireland as well, and I wanted to use it. So if I show you the yarn in the skein, this is it. Beautiful blues, some sea green, a little bit of white coming through. I would say it's probably more lavender than blue, but I paired it with, again, some Alpaca Kids silk, isn't it? Alpaca, brushed alpaca silk, sorry, in a light lavender colorway. And this is what you get when you put the two together. It's beautiful. The two colours really do complement each other so well, and gives it a lovely, just a very muted, cozy colour, I think. I think there's 150 stitches maybe in the round, and I have done 25 rows, and it says to do the repeats 44 rows, so to do it either twice or finish at row 22. So I just wanted it to use as much of the yarn as possible, and I really like how it's turning out, and I really love the value for money of that alpaca silk. It's the light lavender colour there, but I think I picked it up about £2.47, and I mean, that's really, to me, it's really economical in comparison to maybe some indie dyed, and I'm not rubbishing indie dyed, but if you're knitting something just for a Christmas present, I think it leaves it a reasonable cost effective project. So that is the cowl by, did I say who it was by? By Melanie Rice, a small gift, and I love doing a few rows of it now and again. So I just set that down. So then the other thing that's on the needles that I really want to get finished is my Roberval cardigan that I'm knitting for my daughter-in-law, and I am getting there. Hey ho, she says. I need to be careful. I have the cardigan finished, if you can see. So I have the top all finished. I got the band finished. I think I was probably about there, I think, the last time. So I did another 2 or 3 inches and got the ribbing done and have the sleeve lifted. Hey, and I'm working my way down the decreases for the sleeve. And I don't know why. Why do you not just keep motoring on, as we would say, and just work at it and get it done? I don't know. But if you can see, I'm well pleased with it. I think I got the stitches reasonably well lifted. I know there is a little opening there, but I know what that is, and I can just finish off the join in there. I'm not disappointed with that at all. Very pleased with it. So I think actually by the time I've done all the decreases, because there are so many, I think I'll probably not have very much more to knit on the sleeve, and get them finished, and then get the band put on, lifting the stitches, and then there's some short rows on it because it has like a slight shawl effect collar on it. Doesn't wrap out over as a collar, but just a little more width at the back to keep you nice and warm. So yarn's going good. I don't think I'll have to play yarn chicken, but who knows, because I would imagine the band will take quite a bit. But yes, I'm so glad to have got onto the sleeves. I don't know whether anybody has seen these before or not. Kaz of the Wee So and So mentioned them, and I thought, oh yeah, we have to have a gadget and see how it goes. They're wee needle keepers. It saves using a cord of your circular needle set, and one side has a needle on it like so, and the other side has the stopper, and when you have it put onto them, you just put one into the other. And I think it actually is better than your cord for 2 reasons. It's slightly narrower. It's not just as chunky, and when I lifted my stitches, you know, like sometimes you can get that line. Now you can see it here still, but definitely not as noticeable as what you would as I have on other garments that I've knit. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll block out, you know, it'll wash out, no problem, but it really does, it gyps me when I see it after all the knitting that you've done. I'm really pleased with those. They were very inexpensive. You get them in lengths for sleeves, and then you get them for you know, the bottom or a band of a sweater, and it's really good because you can put them on and try them, you know, try it on, and the wee needle's fantastic then for lifting the stitches back onto your circular needles. So yes, you could use your circulars if you have enough cords for to do it. But I like them, and they weren't terribly expensive. But are they something you need? Of course they are. As a knitter, always something you need. So yeah, right, it's half an hour and I'm still blethering. I think that's everything that's on the needles. As I say, I want to get the socks on then for Andrew again, but I'm really concentrating on getting this sweater finished, and I'm just working at the socks here and there, and working at the cowl just in between times. I have found my days are a bit niggly-piggledy, and I don't seem to be getting my knitting time in. I haven't been feeling that well, and my days are shorter because I've been resting probably a lot more than what I normally would. So that cuts down my time, but I've also found it harder just to concentrate on getting my knitting time in, and well, I guess it takes longer to do everything when you're not feeling well as also, but I've sort of started to try and, you know, just work a half an hour, work an hour at a time, and try and make sure that I'm going around the projects rather than sitting down with my socks and just getting so involved in them that I'm not lifting the needles on anything else. So that's why I haven't very much on the needles at the minute. I just want to get this cardigan finished up, and then I'm definitely going to get a sweater for myself cast on. So that's everything for knitting. That's me nearly finished. I have a couple of bits just that came in, there maybe was something else I can't remember, and it doesn't matter. I'm sort of debating. Let me know what you think of the incoming goodies section. I don't watch podcasts to see that. I do like if there's something new. It's a good way of learning about yarn and learning about other suppliers out there, that if you were going to buy something you might try it. But by no means do I want it to be a way of enabling people. It's nice to encourage people to try other things, but in the economy and things we're living in at the minute, I wouldn't want the incoming goodies section to actually enable people to go out and do something that they maybe otherwise wouldn't do. But as knitters, we all do it, so I'm not going to be the only one that does that. But it's the part of the podcast. I don't really mind whether it's there or whether it isn't. So if you think it's a waste and you don't want it, just let me know, because I really don't mind not doing this, but it wouldn't be my favourite part of the podcast. But anyway, I did buy, as you know, I was selling project bags. I still have a couple I'm going to show you now, and I'm going to reduce the price of them to sell them, because I just want my room cleared, and I just need my own space again. But I sold some and I bought some. Now, how silly is that? But I just couldn't resist these. I just love the fabric. My taste has changed, and I just wanted a set of bags that really fitted in with how I am, how I'm just my mood at the minute. And my lovely friend, my phone friend on Instagram, Jeanette from Crafty Clay Creations, had this beautiful yarn, and I thought, yes, this is what I really want. So I ordered her larger bag. Isn't that fabric just beautiful? And I'm just noticing now, I thought it was actually a plain fabric on the top, on the drawstring cord, but if you can see, there's lovely wee stars on it. It has the same lining, which I didn't notice, and it has some pockets in there, trimmed in the blue. And if I can pop it down, you can see the pockets. So it definitely is a really roomy shawl size, and it most certainly is a sweater size. Now, it probably wouldn't hold 10 skeins plus your garment. It's definitely not as big as my other sweater bag, but it is definitely a sweater bag, and I just love it. And it has the linen bottom, and it is the box bottom. So I ordered that size, and then the sock size. Isn't that so cute? I just love it. It's just so pretty, and it has the same features. But aren't these So cool. Just like so pretty, like little tulip heads hand stitched on over the cord knot. Really, really nice. That one doesn't have a pocket on the inside, but you never want a pocket on a small sock bag, I think, because you always have your little tin or notions pouch. And I also did order a notions pouch, which is coming this week as well, and the 2 DPN cozies. I just love DPN cozies. I would hate a needle to go through my bag, and they're invaluable. I really like them, and they're super for circular needles as well as DPNs. Losing my train of thought. So isn't that a cute little bag? Perfect. Love it so much. So that was what I treated myself to from my sales of the bags that I already had. I have a couple of bags still to up for grabs if you want them. I actually have looked at this one a couple of times and thought, why am I selling that? I really do like it. It has a lovely Scandi appeal to it. It's a Christmas bag. I have my Christmas bags out now because I'm knitting Christmas presents, and I think it's great to put a Christmas present in a Christmas bag. It has a little ring there for to hold your stitch markers. Some people can even string their stitches in. It's a nice weight. It's not sturdy, but it is a lovely weight. I love that a drawstring bag that you can turn down into a bowl, and this one definitely sits as a bowl. There's no problem with it sitting. And it also comes with it's DPN cozy and a little zipped notions pouch lined with its wee ring for stitch markers, etc. in there, and a zip and a wee fob holder as well. So I do have that still for sale if anybody wants it, and if not, I think I might actually start using it again. If I put a project of that size onto the needles, it could well be taken out of my sale basket. But yes, it's available for sale. I can't remember just what price I had it up at, but DM me if you want the price of it, and I will get that sorted, and I will see if there's any change on the price on Instagram. The other one then I had for sale was this one, made by Mrs. Moog Designs. This is it is a brilliant bag. Fantastic big box bottom. It's a cute bag. Brilliant sweater size, but can also be used just like that as a shawl size. The beauty about it is the inside comes up and makes you a really good big drawstring bag. Sweater size, no problem. Only been used a couple of times, and the reason I'm selling it is just because I've taken a notion that my taste has changed, and it has 2 fantastic straps on it, like so, and all the fabric is recycled fabric she buys from a store, and this is motion free embroidery. I just noticed you can see the little strands here, but it's just because it's like a tweedy type fabric. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't come with any accessories, but it's a good size bag. It's a fantastic bag for the car because you could put your knitting in it, your phone and your wallet, and have it all in the one place. I don't think there's pockets on the inside of it. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Shows you how much I've used it. There is one good interface pocket on the inside there, and one smaller one as well on the side, so you could easily stick your phone down in there and it wouldn't be lost in the bottom of your bag. Okay, so that is a couple that are sitting. If anybody would like to have a bag for themselves or would like to maybe have them as a Christmas present, they're absolutely pristine condition. You would have no problem handing them on as a Christmas present, and they are just perfect. So I think that is really it for now. I am going to say goodbye, and hopefully I will catch you all again soon. In the meantime, keep safe, enjoy what you're doing, and always make some time for a little bit of craft.